Okay, this video is referencing a document called Triad Pairs, the Ultimate Duality. This video is exactly what's on the document, but before we get into playing that, there are a few important things that I want to talk about and why I chose the name the Ultimate Duality. Playing pairs of triads, so pair would be a minimum of 2. You can use more than that. But grouping them together and finding out ways to attach them in, let's say, maybe unique or creative ways, or maybe even obvious ways right next to each other. Being able to do that is a great training ground, excuse me, for picking or choosing nice groups of notes in your improvisation, as well as just being able to skip notes and not play obvious things. So a few things about it. Depending upon the triads that you choose against the chord of which you are playing on, will dictate the type of harmony that you're outlining, that you're bringing to the forefront. So if you want inside sounds, you want to choose triads that are built right from the same key, diatonic. In the example on the document, that's exactly what we've done. So on the document, we have 2 arpeggios. The arpeggios are E flat major and F major. While I'm there, something that I want to say is that you don't have to choose all major. You don't have to choose all minor. You don't have to group the majors with the major or the minors with the minor. So in other words, you can choose a major triad and a minor triad from within the key. Again, if we're looking for an inside sound. If we're looking for an outside sound, that's probably a video for another time. So grouping them together is what we're trying to do. And most of this, if you want the line to be long and not just obvious stuff, you're probably going to need to use inversions. And so the reason the document is designed the way it is, this particular one, is because we have root position triads, first inversion triads, which means the third is in the bass. So root position would be 1, 3, 5. First inversion 3, 5, 1, and then second inversion 5, 1, 3. So we have all 3 types being linked together. I'm going to play super slowly and try to do my best to explain as I'm making my way through the example, do my best to explain what's transpiring. So I started low on the neck. Oops, I always do that the wrong way. Okay, I started low on the neck with an E flat arpeggio. And this is actually the third in the bass. So this is 3, 5, 1 for E flat. Well, if that's E flat, the next most closely related arpeggio, that is F, would be the same inversion. And for right now, we'll just do them in one direction, meaning ascending. The next most closely related E flat arpeggio is not going to be first inversion, but it's going to be second inversion. So E flat, F, E flat, F. So now we've exhausted both arpeggios in the first and second inversion. It probably should be obvious that we're going to go to some root forms, meaning no inversions, the root position. So there's E flat major, F major. So that's, again, these are root position. So we're probably looking for first inversion. Now looking for second inversion. So anyway, that's kind of what we have. I'll go slowly. So there's really only one thing that I would caution you of, and that is, and I actually messed it up this time, when you're stringing these together, you don't want to be in a circumstance where you have this happening and you have to hop like with the same finger, right? A better choice probably would have been or just so that your leading finger is not occupied by the prior arpeggio. That's probably one of the most important things, so it can have some flow. It's normal guitar pedagogy, I suppose you could say, but it's really important in these kind of circumstances or situations. And so, let's see if I can let a little bit more light in here. It's a little too much. Okay, hopefully that's better. So that's the single direction of going forward. So let's go ahead and reverse that. So. You can end it any way you want. I just chose that C note up top there. But when you're going backwards, it might be nicer to do that. It's a pretty big jump the other way, but you'll need to use your own discretion for that. Well, it should be obvious at this point, if we've played them forwards and we've played them backwards, that we can kind of weave these in an alternate fashion by playing one ascending, one descending, and continuing that pattern. That would look something like this. Now, this is a situation where you actually can use your fingers to slide. And of course, I'm playing a very stringent rhythm. You could play them like triplets, etc. Or you could just stagger them, and do different things with them that way. Mix up the notes. Once you really get it going, mix up the notes. So in other words, you don't play every one of them, or even you can do some really cool things with them by staggering the rhythms and mixing up the notes. Anyway, let's cover the last possibility of stringing them together in alternate directions. We started forward, so let's flip that around. So again, this is something where you can do some really nice things once you get it under your fingers. Probably should address the right hand a little bit. I think it'll be pretty obvious what's going on here, which is I'm doing nothing more than unidirectional picking. I mean, you should call it sweep picking if you want. Maybe I should go back to the straight form, sorry. That's probably the easiest one. Gravity is with you. I would I would highly recommend spending a bit more time on the backward one. So for some of you, this will be really difficult. Etc. But that's all unidirectional, one direction sweep picking. And then, of course, this way as well. These work out pretty well because you have down, 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 hello, down, 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 up, 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 right? It's pretty easy. And of course, the other way will give no challenge. It's the same thing in reverse, but the sweep feels the same in both directions because the pick stroke and the way the pick faces when changing strings is what I would maybe call proper or correct for ease of movement. Anyway, what I started to get to before I wanted to point that out was that, you can start to do some fun things and maybe get some chromatic things in there, maybe stagger your rhythms in a way that you play. Little things like that. So you have E, here's an interesting one. You have F major here and E flat major here. You could so that's just lots of neat things that you can do. And of course, like anything else, this material is maybe something you should think about weaving in and out of, meaning you don't need to play a string as long as we played, but the goal here was to expose, I don't want to say all of, but expose most all of these triads in their different inversions and kind of see how they mature across the fingerboard. That's really the purpose of this. So let's talk about what chord this goes over. There's some writing, I believe, on the document, if I remember correctly. So we said that these arpeggios are inside. And what I mean by that is the E flat and the F are the 4 and the 5 chord in the key of B flat. Okay. So I guess one easy way to say it is this will work really, really well over a 2 minor 7 type chord, like it says in the document. So you have a C7 or a C minor 6. It's going to work great over that. It's going to work great over an F7, over F9, over F11, or E flat with an F bass. Like this kind of chord. So that's pretty great stuff. Now, I also want to say that because we're really stating a triad in a very sort of strong way, one thing you might want to be careful of, I said that these are the 4 and 5 chords in the key of B flat. So since the notes we're choosing are all inside the key, you might quickly deduce that you can use these pairs over any chord that comes from the key of B flat. And while in theory that would be correct on a piece of paper, audibly, I wouldn't be choosing stuff like this on G minor necessarily, because when you start playing, you have a bit of a funny sounding minor chord. You have a minor with a sharp 5, like this kind of, which is a nice sounding chord. If that's actually the chord, then you're good to go. But if it's just regular, sorry, I should probably give you a little bit of neck diagram stuff here. So yeah, if it's a G minor 9 with a sharp 5, you're good to go using all of that material. But if you're just playing something that's maybe it's probably not going to work so great. So we do want to be careful where we're placing it. So let's talk about these diatonic chords. Over B flat major, it's kind of a no-no for the same reason. That E flat sounds kind of pretty bad against if you're going to lay on it. It just doesn't rub correctly. Now, if the chord is B flat sus, you're good to go, right? But actually, that would be fine. So not really over the B flat if you want to be safe. The C minor works all day long. C minor 7, C minor 6, C minor 9, C minor 11, all of those, the whole family of C minor, these will work super great over. Over D minor, not so much. Then again, this is if just if the chords are regular, like D minor 7 type of stuff, not going to fly. E flat major, absolutely. In fact, it'll sound really great over that. So if you hear this chord, maybe just E flat. It's that Lydian sound, especially if it's a major 7. That'll work really well. So E flat major 7 is great. Any of the F family chords, right? Regular F major, F sus2, F sus4, F7, F9, F11, F13, any one of those. The G minor, as we spoke of, not so great. And the A minor 7 flat 5 is already kind of a tense chord to start with. So be pretty good over that. Pretty nice thing to do. That'll work pretty great over the A minor 7 flat 5 as well. So just to recap, B flat major, no good, or let's say 1 chord, not so good. 2 chord, great. 3 chord, not so good. 4 chord, great. 5 chord, great. 6 chord, not so good. 7 chord, great. So it's almost like we're skipping one in between every single one of those, right? 1 is no bueno, 2 is good, 3 is bad, 4 is good, 5 is good. I shouldn't have to explain why 4 and 5 are good. We're actually using the 4th and the 5th arpeggio. So that should be obvious. So the 4 chord is great, the 5 chord is great, and the 6 chord not so much, and then the 7th chord, meaning the minor 7 flat 5, the half diminished, that would work out great as well. So enjoy the challenge. Let me know if you have any questions. Obviously, you should move this to other keys. There are also other ones that I've left out. For example, so there's a grouping on the top 3 strings. Oops. Right? So you can find those on your own based on the material that's there. You're just looking for E flat and F major arpeggios if you really need that kind of thing. We could probably do this. So here's your E flat, F, E flat, F, E flat, F, E flat, F. So that's pretty easy to find by using the other ones on the lower strings. You can figure out what they are on that top 3 strings. I stayed away from the top 3 group of strings, not inversions, but top 3 group of strings, merely because I wanted to have some, I guess, geography in case I wanted to finish my line, you know, like just as an example, right? I wanted to do something like that. I wanted to have some place to go. I didn't want to run out where I had to go, you know, like make some big kind of jump like that. That was my reason. But whatever you might find might be different than that. And that's the whole idea, is to be creative with it. So enjoy the challenge, and you'll see the document in your email.